Hello people, once again I'm here with another episode of ELAVI Truth TV. Another different type of video today because I'm going a little bit deeper. This is a call for action because I want to say to people, fathers, mothers, children, that the day that I'm doing on the 13th of October this year, Father and Child Day, is vitally important. And people may think, oh, there's already a Father's Day. But is there a Father's Day? Because I've spoken about evil and people have challenged me on that. But I want to show what I think is evil. And the difference between an action that is done without malice, that causes damage, the damage is still a problem. But an action done with intent to cause damage, I define as evil. And I believe that there is a pervasive agenda going on to destroy the family and destroy the father. Don't get me wrong. I know mothers, many mothers, are under attack from the system and find no support. However, I want to show you a few things that the media has been doing. So in this video, what I'm going to do is show some evidence, receipts. I'm bringing receipts for what I talk about and what I'm trying to promote and what I'm trying to show. Because a lot of times people may think that, oh, I'm talking about all this father stuff because I've suffered from it. I've suffered from the loss of my children, so therefore I'm fighting. Yes, it's true, I'm doing that. But at the same time, I'm fighting the agenda. I'm exposing the system. So in this video, I'm going to show how the media is being used to orchestrate this agenda that is then applied in the evil courts. So we've been conditioned by the media, softened up, seasoned, and then we go into the courtroom to be cooked. Let me show you. I'm going to run the first clip. Let's go.
My father passed away when I was 3. There was 4 of us kids within 5 years. So my mom had to raise 4 kids by herself.
My mom was a single mother.
So she raised both of us completely by herself, which is...
I'm sorry.
I don't know how she raised 3 boys on her own with such grace.
I've definitely seen her try to juggle both mom, dad, and everything else that she had to be for herself.
She did all of it, and she did it all as though she was 2 people.
But she was tough, huh? She was not a joke.
Say our car broke down. Oh, well, that's the alternator.
She was like, when you punch, she's like, you put your knuckle out and you just go for it. I mean, I don't even know if that's a thing.
Even like opposite of her toughness, it was something very fragile, you know?
Anything that needs help, a person, a thing, an animal, she will find it and she will nurse it back to health. That's my mom.
Always very affectionate, very hugging and kissing and all of that. It was always nothing but love.
She really is like the most amazing mother, but she was really an incredible father. Like truly incredible.
Mom, I hope you have a beautiful day, and I love you from the bottom of my heart. I'm thankful for everything you've done for me. Happy Father's Day, Mom.
Mamá, feliz Día del Padre.
Hi, Mom. Happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day, Mama.
Happy Father's Day, Mom.
Oh, Mom. Happy Father's Day.
Let's just think about this. What have we just seen? One, we've seen an emotionally driven propaganda that at the outset is saying the most beautiful things, the most special things about motherhood. Nothing wrong with that. Single mothers doing a fantastic job. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with the roles that women do to raise their children in a family, alone. Nothing wrong with that. It's quite beautiful to see children speaking about their mothers in such a beautiful way. But wait a minute. Where was the turning point for me? The gentleman here says she was an amazing mother, but she was an incredible father. Stop press, wait. In effect, you've been emotionally driven to believe that the mother is not only wonderful in her role as a woman and as a mother, she's so wonderful in fact that she can be a father too, effortlessly. Wow. So is the father needed? Not at all. Why? Happy Father's Day, Mom. Happy Father's Day. So are we to really believe that we are moving a father out of the way? Because there's no single fathers, of course. There's no fathers that will do the things that these individuals, these actors are doing, are saying that their mother did. There's no single fathers, there's no men who are driven to break their back for their children, to love their children, to do what it takes for their children. Yeah, there's some terrible fathers, but there's some great fathers. Let me take you a little bit deeper. Let's roll the next clip.
Rolling.
Hello, my name is Ashita. I'm a big girl.
Hi, I'm Puneet. I love playing cricket.
My name is Simrita. I want to become a fashion designer.
Hi, I'm Akash. I live with my dad. I paint a lot.
My dad was actually the first one who saw this potential in me. My dad is very good with the off-spin.
Dad says, paint. Don't worry if your clothes get dirty.
Cricket is my passion. Plus, cricket is also very popular with the girls.
Dad works till late, but dinner is always home cooked.
You know, my dad is my fashion guru. We shop till we drop.
The other day, I was trying to shave my beard for the first time. Disaster.
My dad has the best heels. Because my dad mostly wears heels only.
My dad walked in and said, relax. I've been shaving my legs for over a decade now. I can show you how to shave your beard.
Sometimes I don't mind if I have to stay with grandma and dad goes for shopping with girls. It's okay. Every month, Dada goes to the beauty parlor.
You want to meet my dad?
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 See? My dad taught me how to shave.
See, I told you my dad loves shopping.
I told you, my dad wears heels.
Dada loves going to the beauty parlor. Huh?
Happy Father's Day, Mom.
Happy Father's Day, Mom.
Happy Father's Day, Mama. Happy Father's Day, Mama!
Wow. Do I get shocked? Sometimes. Have I been shocked now by this? Yeah, I'm shocked. Because what's happened here is like the complementary side to the other video I just showed you, where the children now are talking about their dad. They're talking about the qualities a father has. But as it goes on, you see that they're adding in gender stuff that you would apply to a woman in a classical term. And you're thinking, well, wait a minute. They're talking about their father, but they're talking about their father shaving his legs and shit. And wait a minute. It truly transpires that the father that they're talking about is actually their mother. Can you see how that's now reinforced? I'm taking you deeper each time I show you a video now. I showed you one, emotionally driven. I showed you two, emotionally driven. But they take you deeper, because this one shows that the children in the video now are identifying the woman not just in the role of the father, but as the father. Let's go deeper, deeper still. And let's just expose the truth of it. Now, the next person you're going to see, let me take you back just 1 minute before I run this clip. I think what I'm going to say is very important. These two so-called commercials that I've just shown you, which I don't want to use the word commercial. Yeah, they're selling you stuff. That's their primary goal. They're selling you two things. They're selling you physical objects in the form of electronics and baby wipes or something like that. Angel soft baby wipes. And the other one's for LG electronics. They're selling you products. And at the same time, they're selling you a mentality, a belief system, a code of how to live. And it's interesting with the LG one that at the end it says, innovation for a better way of life, I think, or a better life. Are the ideas in this going to give the children a better life? Let's go in. Let's go and see the kind of person that is behind it all. And it's interesting that this woman, who I'm going to show you now, is very reminiscent of the kind of people I would meet within areas of the court system, such as Kafkas. People that profess to be thinking about the harm that is being done to children, but underneath that so-called agenda, there's a darker agenda. Let's go to it.
Father's Day, Mom.
Happy Father's Day, Mom.
Happy Father's Day, Mama.
Stephanie Piccone with that report, but let's turn now to the push to rename Father's Day Special Persons Day so children without a dad aren't offended. A growing number of politically correct schools and kindies are embracing the name change, but they're copping a lot of criticism for it. Now, earlier I spoke with Dr. Red Ruby Scarlett, a university academic and convener of the Social Justice in Early Childhood activist group. Well, Red, firstly, thank you very much for your time. Look, what is the argument for having Special Persons Day rather than Father's Day?
Thank you for having me as well. If we think about children's rights and how they get to participate in a community and feel a sense of belonging, sometimes shifting the language around those emotive and important days can be significant and more inclusive than the current way that we describe them.
So is it essentially, though, for children who don't have a dad for whatever reason?
Yes, but also there are children who have a dad who also have a grandfather and also have an auntie and also have other kinds of relatives. There are also a huge range of different family structures. So So we have single-parent families, satellite families, extended families, lesbian and gay families.
What feedback are you getting from parents and teachers who have introduced these special persons days?
There's a range of different communities across Australia, and I've actually been talking with them over the last couple of days since this has been in the media. And essentially what happens in early childhood is they work very closely with their communities and they negotiate these kinds of emotive and special family events with the families who are attending the centre. So there's quite a lot of input, and I think the conversation or the argument, as you'd said from the get-go, maybe isn't so much about the educators and the families. I'm wondering whether it's people who care about children and worry that they won't have these significant family days and celebrations in their educational settings, but perhaps they don't quite know the context of what's happening in those particular communities.
But there has been a backlash.
There has been a backlash, but the backlash hasn't necessarily come from families in those communities. It's people outside those particular contexts.
Your activist group is social justice in early childhood. Why is social justice important for little kids?
There's a lot of Australian research that has actually informed a lot of international research, teacher research, for example, that has demonstrated children's capacity to be really inclusive once they know about these ideas and they think, wow, why are people seeing this as a controversy? Why are we calling this political correctness when in fact it's about our rights?
Okay, Red, and before we do let you go, people will be wondering, I am anyway, is Red Ruby Scarlett your real name?
Yes, it is.
Oh, Dr. Scarlett, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much.
So there we have Dr. Red Ruby Scarlett. And let's slightly analyse what Dr. Red Ruby Scarlett is saying. The Scarlet Woman, let's call her the Scarlet Woman. Let's understand what she's saying. Without giving any explanation why she wants to take away, any real reason why she wants to take away Father's Day. She drives her argument on the grounds of protecting children, the rights of children, and the feelings that children may have towards other people that are replaceable in the role of the father. So aunties can come in and be a father. Uncles can come in and be a father. Granddads can come in and be a father. Anyone within the extended family. And in order to make this happen, we have to remove Father's Day and call it Person Day. Interesting. Now, as I said, she didn't ever give a reason why she feels that it's important to remove Father's Day. And in my opinion, remove what? Fathers. This is the second to last clip. The last clip is the most important, so I hope you keep watching for this, and I think everybody should listen to the last clip, the last media-driven clip. Let's go into it.
Well, it started out as a joke, but the hashtag End Father's Day is picking up steam with feminists online and with others in social media.
Tweets like End Father's Day because it's a celebration of patriarchy and oppression have been popping up all over the place.
Oh, well, let's bring in Susan Patton, a.k.a. the Princeton mom. She gained notoriety for imploring young women to lock down their future husbands while still in college. You remember this? We talked about this. Good morning. Thanks for being with us.
What a pleasure to be here on
Right,
Father's Day.
Some of these tweets here is from Tasha. She wrote in, everyone knows we only need mothers. Why do we even need Father's Day? Fathers are useless. Hashtag End Father's Day.
Oh, come on. Just
Useless?
more of this nasty feminist rhetoric that they're not just interested in ending Father's Day, they're interested in ending men. That's really what they want. It's absurd for them to say that Father's Day is a creation of male oppression. It's ridiculous.
But why is it good for women? I mean, there's a reason that there are more women living in poverty now than at any time in my lifetime is because there are fewer married women. I mean, when you crush men, you hurt women.
Without a doubt. And we're obviously not talking about celebrating the deadbeat dads or celebrating the men who abandon their families. We're talking about men who love their children, who provide for their families, and who daily set an example for young men for young boys about what it is to be a man today.
Yeah. Well, here's another tweet. I'll just read. Fire these up. TJ Katz writes, maybe I should ignore my kids today instead of taking care of them. End Father's Day, TJ says. He's pissed.
No, you should never ignore your kids. Father's Day is a celebration of these dads who are getting it done. And for these ridiculous feminist women, these antagonistic women, to say that it's a celebration of male oppression no. It's a harmless creation of the greeting card industry, the aftershave industry, the tie manufacturer. Speaking of which, I brought you a present. Do you want to guess what it is? Do you want to guess what it is? I'll give you a hint. It's not a pizza. Go on.
It's a Shar-Pei puppy.
No, it really isn't.
Okay.
You didn't bring one for him,
You're
too?
so nice. We're going to share it.
You can share it.
Holy smokes.
Designed by my classmate, my Princeton classmate, Fred Dorr. How beautiful
That's
is that?
incredible. That is zany. Yes. This is my first Father's Day tie.
That's
I
you.
don't think my children are awake right now.
I like that you look surprised and delighted. It's good. It's
I'm
good.
always,
Good rehearsal for later
I
today.
have 4 kids, so...
You're all about surprised and delighted.
Can we end on this thought? Do you think the people who were saying end Father's Day, do you think they just had a poor experience with their dads and that's why, and they don't understand the value?
I think that we're talking about a group of antagonistic feminists who firstly don't even have men in their lives, probably. So this really has nothing to do with them in its entirety, but it's just one more thing, one more microaggression for them to latch onto and get crazy over. This is absolutely absurd. Nobody's talking about Mother's Day, and Mother's Day, of course, I mean, every day is Mother's Day.
What kind of outrage would there be if there was a hashtag if men were saying, yeah, mothers aren't important, end Mother's Day? What kind of outrage would there be?
Well, without fathers, there would be no mothers, no?
Yeah,
I mean,
I would
really,
think so.
without fathers, there really could be no mothers. But every day is Mother's Day. Let's give Dad this one Sunday in June and, you know, be good-spirited about it.
That's the spirit. Susan!
There you go.
Great to see you.
so much.
Love being here. Thank you.
Interesting, to say the least. And what I take from this short news article, American news story, is, and can I make a point? This is a worldwide thing. This is pervasive. You know, it's not just happening here in the UK. And as America is such a media-driven culture, let's look at what's happening. And in this news story, this news article, have we not heard the term, every day is Mother's Day? I've heard the term. I understand the term. I understand the term because of this reason. Because of my mother. My mother is so precious to me. Every day is Mother's Day. I'm not even going to go too deeply into that, but she's the woman that brought me into this world. She's God to me in a sense. Every day is Mother's Day. But it was interesting that the drive of what the news story calls a select few, it seems powerful feminists are able to push this agenda. Is the agenda fueled by love? Or is it fueled by destruction? I'm not going to disparage Red Ruby Scarlet Woman. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to, you decide. And take what you want from the news story and from everything I'm showing you. But now we come to the final one, the most important one, and why I hope that friends, family, acquaintances, strangers who are yet to be friends will come to the day in August on the 13th, which is my daughter's birthday, Saturday the 13th of October, to celebrate the love between a father and child. Please watch this segment. See, I'm using different phrases now. Segment, clip. Next time I do a video, I'll have... Oh, listen, go.
Months ago, we introduced you to Dr. Warren Farrell, who says America is in the throes of a boy crisis. And as we reach Father's Day, it's worth
revisiting the issue, especially since Dr. Farrell is here in the flesh in D.C. and he's up late with me on the Final Five. Last time I saw you was through the big monitor, and now I get you here in person.
You're much better in person.
I don't know how to take that. I don't know how to take that. No, let's talk about this. Father's Day is upon us. You've been making the rounds. You've been going around the country. First of all, let's tell people. You said America's in a boy crisis, and I think for people who didn't see you last time, what is a boy crisis?
Boys are doing worse in every single academic area, not only in the United States, but all over the developed world. They're doing worse in terms of emotional intelligence, worse in terms of committing suicide, going into depression. It used to be depression was a girl's thing. Now it's more with boys. They are doing much worse in terms of physical health. They're having trouble with sperm counts. Their IQs are going down. It is in 70 different areas. Boys are having problems, but it's mostly boys that do not have significant amount of father involvement.
There are people who look at a lot of the situations you mentioned and say this is a matter of political correctness, that boys are being softened these days, but it's more than that.
It is more than that. Boys have opportunities today that they've never had throughout history. Historically speaking, boys had to prepare for war. They had to be prepared for being a sole breadwinner. Today, they have more opportunities, more flexibility. But if they don't have any guidance by the culture as to what to be, they have a purpose void. And then if they have a purpose void and a dad void, they have nowhere to go. They become rudderless. Dads are very good at enforcing boundaries, which creates postponed gratification, which helps boys achieve. Without that and without a role model, a very high percentage of boys fall significantly behind.
I'm lucky to have had my father with me for every step of my life. I still do to this day. I know a lot of people who didn't. They turn out just fine. But that said, when you look at the grand scheme of things, and you mentioned the word role model.
Yes.
What makes a good role model? Is there a good role model in lieu of a father figure?
Well, first of all, a good role model is a biological dad, because the boy, as he's growing up, starts wondering who he is. And as he searches for identity, he's half his dad and half his mom. And if he hears bad things about his dad or that type of thing, he starts worrying, am I bad like that? Am I narcissistic? Am I a liar? Or that type of thing. Now, if you can't have a father as a role model biologically, get your son or son involved with the Cub Scouts, the Boy Scouts. Get them involved with a faith-based community. Make sure you choose your faith-based leader very carefully, and that he encourages boys of your son's age to talk with each other. Boys who are in trouble are boys who keep their feelings to themselves and repress who they are.
You've been making the rounds, going around the country and talking to local leaders. I know that's one of the reasons you're here in D.C.
Yes.
Before we go, what are you doing? What's the conversation that you think that you have to have and that communities have to have with elected leaders, with other pillars of the community?
First, they need to understand that there is a boy crisis, and that boy crisis is all over the world. And that when boys are in crisis mode, when they don't have a lot of father involvement, they're far more likely to join ISIS. So almost all of your ISIS recruits.
And that's a big jump there.
Yes. So obviously most boys who don't have fathers don't join ISIS. But of your ISIS recruits, almost all of them have in common a lack of father involvement, not only the boys, but also the girls. Of your school shooters, the great majority of them have a lack of father involvement. Of your mass shooters, the great majority of them have a lack of father involvement. And so Father's Day is really a day to say, we need to have fathers become the new warrior, the new person to be involved, overcoming the barriers. If you're having trouble with connecting with your son, fight it out, work it out, communicate it out.
Right, last question before we go. You know, there are a lot of people watching, and there may be single mothers out there.
Yes.
And they say, my son is growing up, and a lot of these sons are pillars of the community.
Yes.
President Obama, you can look at him as an example. So it's not an all-encompassing problem, but it's something we should investigate, is what I'm gathering from you.
Yes, the boys that are having significant problems, there's about 9 or 10 causes, but this is by far fatherlessness, and minimal father involvement is the most significant cause. One of the things that President Obama's mother did differently than many times happens is she constantly told positive stories about President Obama's father. And that's so one of the things that you can do for your child is to tell positive stories about the father. So the boy ends up feeling, I am a worthwhile, inherently a worthwhile person.
The book is called The Boy Crisis. Dr. Warren Farrell, good to see you again.
Doctor Who. Yeah. This is the real Doctor Who. Because I didn't know him up until then. And I found him, I heard him talking truth, and people are going to say, well, Elevi, you just like this guy because he's saying what you want to hear. He's backing up your ideology. This channel is called ELAVI Truth TV. I love this doctor because he's talking the truth. He's talking about the fact that a child struggles to find his identity. A girl, a daughter, struggles to find her identity, her value in the world, her place in the world. And children know that they come from two places, a mother and a father. Did anybody zero in on the fact that the doctor said the best role model is the biological father? I've got great uncles who are great role models. I'm blessed to have them. And my father is the greatest role model. And even though my father wasn't perfect, I learned from his negative as much as I learned from his positive. Bless you, my father. Listen, I can't embellish or improve on what the doctor said, but I can say to you all, please, come to the day, spread the word, and men, women who believe in what's right, live up to the best in you, live up to the best in the children. Now I'm going to end this episode with some audio from my court battle. And this is taken from when I was given the opportunity to question the mother of my children in regards to role models and who I could be in my children's life. I want you to pay close attention because although the audio is not the best audio, it was covertly recorded in the courtroom. I want you to listen to how in the courtroom we're basically being talked out of having a father, out of having a role in the life of the children. And what is most interesting is that for 3 years the court case was just about everybody else talking. They'd set up a parameter where me and the mother of the children could no longer speak. So this was the first time we were able to speak. I was cross-examining. Can you imagine that? I was cross-examining the woman who I carried in labour in order to give birth to my children. Carried her both times when she didn't have any more strength left. In actual fact, that's less true because my first child, labour was long. Little man, he just came out like that, so he was eager to get into the world and start getting on with it. My daughter took her time. Listen to it. I think you'll find it interesting and an insight into how the courts destroy the bond between a father and a child. It's not just happening to me, it's happening across the planet. And when there's no fathers left, do you think they will destroy the mothers? so that the children are just running free like feral children, laws unto themselves. Let's go in.
Got any questions for Miss Jubb?
Yeah.
Through me, if you'd be good enough.
Miss Jubb, can you tell me what parental responsibility is?
Yeah. What is your understanding of parental responsibility?
My understanding of parental responsibility is the legal responsibility on a parent or guardian to have involvement in decisions which are made in a child's life, such as education, healthcare, schooling sort of subjects.
And would you be able to tell
That is the important decisions?
Yes.
Schooling,
Yes,
education,
yeah.
health, all the rest of it. Yeah.
And
Yes, Mr.
would you be able to explain to the court whether you have parental responsibility or not?
She does. Take it from me, she does.
She does.
Yeah.
And can you tell the court how you exercise your parental responsibility?
That's a very sort of broad question.
So it's not a
could
question.
you give me an indication of how you think she's not doing that?
That's not.
It that way.
That's not my point. I'm not saying she isn't doing it. I want her to. You know, if she is able to understand the question and able to answer it, then she should be given the opportunity to answer it. If she wants to. If she doesn't want to answer it, that's her.
No,
and I'm not going to
my only concern.
I'm not going to pressure her to answer the question.
I'm not suggesting for 1 second you are. My only problem is whether the question is an appropriate one to make to her, in the sense that it is so broad. I'd rather see something that's slightly more specific.
So, okay. In terms of day-to-day living, how do you exercise your parental responsibility in terms of day-to-day living? I hope that's more specific.
Is that you mean vis-a-vis you, or just?
It's got nothing to do with me. She's the parent with parental responsibility.
Right.
In terms of day-to-day living, how do you exercise your parental responsibility?
I try. I make decisions with regards to the children and the educational and extracurricular activities and healthcare things that they are involved in.
Thank you. If you were in a position where you could only contact the children once a month via a letter, how do you believe you would exercise your parental responsibility? Sir, if Catherine Jubb can answer the question, let her answer the question. If she cannot answer the question, allow her to say she doesn't understand or she cannot answer the question,
right,
if that's okay.
I'll give you that leeway for the moment.
It's a very tricky analogy to get my head around. However, I wouldn't. I suppose I wouldn't be able to exercise much of my parental responsibility given those circumstances.
Thank you. So, intrinsic in your decision to have me contact the children once per month, you know that I would not be able to exercise my parental responsibility.
Sorry, I now understand where you're coming from.
I understand that the ability to exercise parental responsibility would be limited.
Well, you, to the previous question, said you would not be able to exercise your parental responsibility. Now you're saying it would be limited. So can you define what limited means in terms of how you would exercise your parental responsibility in a limited way if you only had one letter per month to contact your children? And do bear in mind that there is no requirement in law for the children to actually reply to me. That is based on your encouragement. I don't believe there's going to be an order made for the children to reply. So how would you do that in a limited way?
Well, I believe that bringing these proceedings is in a way exercising parental responsibility, and Mr. Downey has had his involvement in these proceedings, and I'm sure he will make other choices in the future.
I see. So if bringing proceedings is a form of parental responsibility, then do you assert that it is fine for me to bring proceedings again?
No, that's not a proper. Well, apart from anything else, it's not for me when you bring any further proceedings, or whether either of you can.
Well, so there's another problem, which I think mothers express a preference. The questions be through you.
I'm not even looking at Catherine.
It's addressing them to me. It's all right.
You know.
That's why I'm trying to interpret.
Right, certainly.
I don't think.
Don't look for problems where there's none, sir.
Yeah. I don't think it's a. Well, I suppose you can answer it. Whether is it your view? Is it your view that if he wants to exercise his parental responsibility in the future, he's always got to make an application to court? Is that it?
I'm not asking the question, sir. If you've decided.
Is that what you were getting at?
No, sir.
What are you getting at?
Catherine Jubb said that these proceedings are a form of parental responsibility. However, I don't understand that because Catherine defined parental responsibility as making decisions for the children in terms of their education and welfare, and I don't see how bringing proceedings does that. So I'm really wanting to understand how she defines bringing a court proceeding and parental responsibility. They're two different animals, so to speak. So could you, for the purpose of the court, explain, and in essence, if they are the same animal and I have the right to do it, if I have the right to because I do have parental responsibility for the children.
You do.
I do. And I have the right to exercise it. I don't have the right to contact, but I do have parental responsibility. Therefore, if you say that proceedings are, in your opinion, as a sole custodian of the children, a form of parental responsibility, are you saying to the court that it is permissible for me to bring further proceedings in regard to the children, to exercise my parental responsibility?
I don't think that's a matter for me. That's a matter for Judge Mr. Dowd.
Thank you.
To answer it.
Thank you. This brings me directly to the question of Adonai and Arishel's identity. Can you explain to the court how you believe you are in a position to facilitate the ongoing development of Adonai and Arishel's cultural, spiritual, and ancestral identity, being a white female?
Right. How do you think you can promote that dual heritage, isn't it?
How do you think you can not promote it, sir? Maintain.
Right. Promote and maintain it.
By allowing them as much contact as possible with people from particularly black cultures.
Thank you.
And that's not the end of my answer. By allowing them access to materials such as books, allowing them to do internet research, encouraging them to incorporate black intellectuals or artists, creative figures into their schoolwork, by maintaining whatever contact with any members of Mr. Dow's family that are willing to be in contact with the children as possible.
Excellent. My mother is willing, my sister is willing. When will you encourage contact there?
That's not the position I have been informed that, as far as I'm aware, I believe Mr. Dow was referring to his sister Julie, and I have been
I'm referring to my mother and my sister. When will you?
I've been informed otherwise.
You've been informed otherwise what?
That his sister is not willing.
Can you you mentioned books, you mentioned black cultures. Can you identify the black cultures you mean and the people you have in Arishel Nade's life that represent those black cultures?
Well, obviously the Jamaican culture is of paramount importance here, seeing as the father is from Jamaican descent. But throughout my time with Mr. Dowie, I know that he hasn't always focused his attention on purely Jamaican culture as black culture.
Catherine, can I just interrupt?
Let her finish. No, you can't interrupt.
And it is important for children of mixed heritage to understand as much as possible about their origins. Obviously, Africa being kind of the continent of focus, as a lot of the Jamaican descendants now were placed in Jamaica as a product of slavery and slave trade. They originate from Africa. These are the things that Mr. Dowie's told the children from as soon as they could listen to him. And
Mr. We're not interested in what I have taught to children. I'm interested in what you have taught the children. And you said that you have got books. Can you name 3 or 4 books that you have encouraged the children to educate themselves in their culture?
I've bought the children books about capoeira. At the time we were learning capoeira.
Okay. Capoeira is a martial art and it is not about someone's culture. Can you name 3 or 4 books which promote the cultural heritage of your dual heritage children?
I know that the children have books on their shelves. I cannot recall them off the top of my head.
You mentioned about black figures, maybe intellectuals. Can you name 3 or 4 intellectuals you think it would be important for your dual heritage children to learn about that would support their identity as dual heritage people?
Well, intellectuals are sort of
Historical figures are anyone?
historical figures. You've got people like Martin Luther King, Bob Marley's maybe a slightly controversial guy, maybe, I don't know, but he's a legendary musician, of course, and the Jamaican man who's also of mixed heritage. Arishel has recently included a work of an artist in her homework. Unfortunately, the name of the artist escapes me, though I do remember the picture. That doesn't really help me here, unfortunately, but she did include, and the school would obviously back me up on this, it's on the computer at home, an African-American artist in her homework.
So the 2 people that you've mentioned, Martin Luther King and Bob Marley, could you tell the court how you would use these 2 individuals to highlight issues of culture, race, heritage, and you did mention slavery, which is important, I would think.
I'm not entirely sure that I can give Mr. Dowie any explanation here, because obviously a lot of this was situations as it comes with the children. They ask questions, you encourage them to do research or read something. Depends on the subject at hand.
Thank you. If, Miss Jubb, you are unable to give any detailed knowledge with regard to the information you've been asked to give in the court, how do you believe you're able to educate the children in these matters?
My knowledge isn't limited to what's in my head today. I can gain more knowledge, I can buy more books, and I can encourage the children to do the same.
Can you mention one book that you have the intention of buying?
I don't. Not at this current moment in time.
Would you say that contact with people from Adonai and Arishel's direct family, we're talking about their blood family, not strangers who may be black, do you think there is an additional benefit in contact with those people in regards to their emotional well-being?
As long as the contact is healthy and child-focused and appropriate, then yes.
I'm expanding the question a little. Do you think it enhances their sense of identity, their emotional well-being? Do you believe that is?
Once again, as long as the contact is healthy and appropriate.
So, because they have no reflection of their history, do you think that is a situation where they are being deprived of a vital part of their identity?
To answer that question, first of all, I suppose, do you accept that they don't have an understanding of their black extended family?
No, I don't accept that at all.
You don't think it's a problem?
No, I don't accept that. Judge, could you just repeat the question? Just ask me, sorry.
Sorry, I just wanted it to be done in, it was a dual question in a way. I'd rather they be asked it one at a time. I think the complaint or the concern that Mr. Dowie had was that really, whatever you may say to me today, the reality is these children have no real knowledge of or understanding of their black extended family. Is that right?
That's simply untrue. We've been to Jamaica, they've met their grandmother. Aristo's been to Jamaica 3 times. I've met twice.
But they have no
photos.
contact, their photos.
They have photographs and photo albums that they get out regularly to show people, which have photographs of even Mr. Dowie's late father, who died in 2009.
2007. 2009, that's right, you're right.
2009. Adene never met Mr. Dowie's father, his paternal grandfather. However, Adene is able to recognise his grandfather from a photograph. They have.
Sorry.
They have contact. They've had contact recently with an uncle.
It could be 3 years plus before I see my children. There's a possibility, sir.
Oh, yeah, I'm
Very
just
much.
trying to get this so I can ask the question. You know,
I'm going to ask the question now. It is clearly apparent that you do not have the skills to enhance the relevant identity and support that, nurture that.
Well,
How do you believe in the next 3 years you are going to rise to the challenge of facilitating the increasing demand that your children will have to understand who they are as dual heritage children?
By allowing them access to the materials I have previously suggested, and encouraging them to have as positive a relationship as possible with any family members who are willing to have that relationship, and with whom the children feel comfortable to speak to as well.
They may not feel comfortable to speak to anybody after that time. Is that correct?
Do you think the passage of time will affect their ability to understand and appreciate all that? That's what you're saying, is that?
Can you just read, because that's...
Right, well, I suppose, I thought there were a number of questions. I said the first thing is, do you regard the order that you're seeking to be open-ended? I think we need to go there first, don't we?
Obviously, I'm not a trained legal expert, but as far as I understand, this is a final hearing, which means that the order that is made is final. So unless at some point in the future something else happens to challenge the situation set down after this final hearing, contact will remain as is in that final order.
So I may be wrong. Right, so what you mean is that it's going to be a final order that I make, but that if it is to change, something is required to be done to make it change.
Thank you. You didn't answer the question, but I'll move on.
She did, actually, I thought.
I'll move on. I previously believed that you felt that the role of a father in children's life was vital to their upbringing, understanding, emotional development, and all aspects of their character. Can you tell me, and especially in terms of, in fact, I was going to say in terms of a boy, but it's irrelevant. A girl as well as a boy needs role models. Which male role models have you in place in their lives to address the lack of a father, really? Have you got anybody in place who can?
I have a stepfather. I have my father still with me. They have contact with them regularly. Well, not regularly, but enough.
Not regular. What is enough?
They don't live in Preston, so it's not like every day. Also, the children, as I said, I've had contact with an uncle from Mr. Dowie's side of the family. And
so he is a father figure for them.
He's a male role model.
But he's not a father figure.
Male role models, is what she said.
Thank you. Basically, you don't believe that the children need a father now.
I believe that it's in the best interest of children, where possible, to have a positive relationship with their father. I think that is well documented in lots of evidence and research. It's in with the practice directions of all the experts are suggesting that it's true. I believe it, aside from what evidence is saying, I think it's fairly commonsensical. However, I've recently been reading a psychology book myself, and the psychology book I was reading was talking about the offending rates in youths and the sort of the domestic situations, and it states there that the and the secure attachment to that loving mother, so the outcome is essentially better.
That's actually incorrect, because the data on dual heritage children is different. Can you name that research that you're referring to?
Clearly not. I didn't bring the book.
Because the Runnymede Trust states that the offending rate of dual heritage children is significantly higher than the mono-racial children in both categories. That means higher than black people and higher than white people.
Do you accept that?
Well, if Mr. Dowie, I have no idea. Right.
From broken families, and that dual heritage children come from the highest rate, although they're the smallest ethnic group, they come from the highest rate of broken families. Were you aware of that?
I was aware of that. I did believe that to be true.
Thank you. In Miss Harrison's report, she states on numerous occasions that the children have suffered significant damage as a result of no contact with me.
So I'm not entirely sure that's what it does say, actually. Perhaps so Mr. Dowie doesn't think I'm overstating things. Perhaps
the children have been damaged.
Could print it, could just show that passage of Miss Harrison's report that says the children have suffered, quote, significant damage through not having contact with me.
Listen, I'm not even going there. If you feel that my children have not been damaged, you put that argument forward. Catherine.
Well, I think we need to identify.
Have the children been damaged as a result? Has the children been damaged as a result of me not being in their lives?
Right, that's a perfectly valid question.
I believe that any damage the children have suffered as a result of Mr. Dowie no longer being in their lives.
That was not the question. Have the children been damaged?
No, you've got to let her answer the question.
I believe any damage they have suffered as a consequence is far less than the damage they would have continued to suffer had Mr. Dowie remained in all of our lives.
I see. So you believe that when you claim I was raping you, and at the same time you asking me to go to Brazil, they are suffering less damage then than now. But that wasn't the question. The question was this: have the children suffered any damage that you are, as a mother, are aware of?
Valid question.
Any damage, just broadly? Or is
As
it
a result of not having a
No,
father.
specifically as a result of him not being in their lives. Is it your belief that they have suffered damage as a result of him not being in their lives?
I'm not a qualified psychologist. I can only speak of the behaviours I witnessed of my children, and I can say that at the moment, whilst there is there is sadness around the fact, particularly from my son, that the contact is distant, they are far more secure and stable in their personalities, and I can see the damage that they have suffered as a result of
So
this and the chaotic life.
there's no damage. There's no damage as a result of me not being in their lives, though.
You've got to let her answer the question.
The question I'm asking, Miss Job, and I'll ask it the last time. In your opinion, is there any damage that the children have suffered as a result of me not being in their lives?
You need to add something else to that, Mr. Dowie, to help you.
As a result of the children not having the father that has been in their lives since they were born, have the children, to your knowledge, suffered any damage?
Yes or no?
I'd love to give you a yes or no, but...
Well, give me the best answer you can.
As I said, I'm not a psychologist. I can see certain problematic behaviours in my children. I can't necessarily root the damage. I'm not a psychologist. I can't psychoanalyse my own children.
But you can see problematic behaviour.
But I can't say for certain whether anything that is an issue is as a result of Mr. Dowie not being in their